Federal agents announcing they have made what they describe as the largest drug seizure in the history of the Eastern District of Washington. On Tuesday, the DEA served search warrants to several Tri-Cities locations.
Did you ever suspect that right behind peaceful residential neighborhoods lurks a criminal network carrying the seeds of destruction? A historic raid has just shaken the serene Tri-Cities area. Tens of kilograms of highly toxic substances, millions of dollars in dirty money, and an arsenal of hot weapons were exposed right under residents' noses. Who is the mastermind and how was his sophisticated cover smashed? Let's open the case file of this shocking special operation right now. Is your neighborhood truly as safe as you think? Please leave a comment sharing your perspective. Hit like and subscribe to the channel to spread the message of protecting the community with us. March 3rd, 2026 has permanently left an indelible mark on the history of the Eastern District of Washington State. Amidst the daily hustle and bustle of the peaceful Tri-Cities area, the United States Drug Enforcement Administration, along with federal units, silently conducted a large-scale law enforcement operation. No one could have suspected that behind the quiet residential areas lay a highly dangerous underground network. This raid was not merely a successful mission, but also a long story about the battle to protect the peace of every home. The focus of this historic special operation targeted an individual named Amador Sanchez and his accomplices. The saddest and most thought-provoking aspect is that Sanchez was under federal legal supervision following a previous conviction for trafficking illicit substances. This incident sounds a profound wake-up call about human nature and material temptations. It shows that the path to rehabilitation is sometimes incredibly arduous, and not everyone has enough bravery to overcome selfish personal interests to live a clean life. The tactics of this criminal group were extremely sophisticated, exploiting the safe cover of residential areas to conceal their crimes. Sanchez established at least one base of operations in each city within the Tri-Cities area to distract the authorities. The fact that these toxic substances were hidden right next to where children were playing and where families were living peacefully is truly a terrifying prospect. Through this heartbreaking story, have you ever wondered whether we have truly cared for and fully understood what is happening in our own neighborhoods? If you feel this educational information is truly useful and brings profound cautionary value, please hit the like button on the video and subscribe to the channel to spread this community-protecting message to even more people. Your support is a tremendous motivation for us to continue delivering authentic news stories and humanistic lessons. Returning to the crime scene, the scale of this criminal ring was only truly brought to light when authorities proceeded to count the massive amount of confiscated evidence. The figures released from the scene are not only evidence of crime, but also a measure of the horrific devastation if they had leaked out into society. Over 90 kilograms of methamphetamine, also known as crystal meth, and over 74 kilograms of powdered fentanyl were seized. Fentanyl is known as a highly toxic substance. An amount as small as a grain of salt is enough to take the life of a healthy human being. This massive volume contained countless seeds of destruction for the future of the younger generation, if not stopped in time. In addition, authorities discovered over 2.2 kilograms of cocaine, along with illicit cash amounting to approximately $2 million and 16 firearms of various types. The colossal sum of money and accompanying hot weapons clearly prove the danger and reckless nature of the underworld. Money earned from the suffering of others, from shattering the happiness of so many families, ultimately cannot cover up the crime. This unjust wealth is the heaviest sentence of conscience for those who sow the White Death. In the face of this historic victory, the special agent in charge of the DEA Seattle Field Division, Mr. Robert A. Saccone, shared some deeply moving and resolute thoughts. He emphasized that this largest seizure in the history of the Eastern District of Washington is a landmark step forward. The ultimate goal is not just to arrest criminals, but to move towards an America free of the poison named fentanyl. His speech carried great hope for a brighter and safer future for everyone. Mr. Saccone also expressed deep concern when envisioning the worst-case scenario if that massive amount of drugs had flooded the market. He asserted that this quantity of fentanyl and methamphetamine would undoubtedly devastate countless families and collapse many communities. Every dose of illicit substance sold is the tears of fathers and mothers, the unfinished future of youth who unfortunately strayed. Therefore, every prevention effort by law enforcement forces is a direct life-saving action of the most sacred significance. From this story, we draw an incredibly profound lesson about the value of peace and community health. Protecting society is not solely the responsibility of the police force or government agencies, but the shared duty of every single one of us. Family, school, and society must form a solid alliance to educate our children about the unpredictable harms of addictive substances. In your own view, what must each of us do in our daily lives to contribute to building a healthy living environment and repelling social evils? The United States Drug Enforcement Administration has reaffirmed its steadfast commitment to disrupting the entire supply chain of toxic fentanyl. To achieve this, they do not merely rely on the deterrent power of the law, but also focus on comprehensive collaborative strategies and public awareness campaigns. The success of an operation is not only measured by the quantity of confiscated evidence, but also by the number of citizens awakened and protected from the traps of drugs. Education and understanding are always the most proactive and sustainably effective defensive weapons. The joy of victory is further multiplied through the praise of First Assistant Pete Serrano for the entire team participating in the special operation. He called the dismantling of this historic volume of poison the most authentic and vivid testament to the silent dedication of the officers. The spirit of close cooperation and the tireless day and night efforts of law enforcement units have woven a solid shield protecting the people. Those individuals are ready to face danger in exchange for the peaceful sleep of millions of families behind them. Mr. Serrano also clearly pointed out that thoroughly removing drugs, firearms, and criminal funds from the streets will directly save countless innocent lives. Protecting public safety is always placed at the forefront and serves as the guiding principle for all actions of both state and federal agencies. The strict punishment of the law for these crimes that destroy the community is not only rightful atonement, but also carries a strong deterrent effect aimed at stopping those who intend to embark on the path of sin. Another aspect that made this brilliant victory possible is the power of solidarity and coordinated combat among various different authorities. The historic case was led by the DEA Tri-Cities Resident Office, but had the side-by-side support of a series of crucial units. The U.S. Border Patrol, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the U.S. Marshals Service, and Homeland Security Investigations all contributed indispensable roles. This cohesion proves that when we share a common goal, evil will undoubtedly be pushed back. The rhythmic coordination between federal and state agencies smashed the most sophisticated concealment efforts of the criminal network. Each unit with its own expertise and strengths pieced together a complete picture, casting a net to capture those standing in the shadows. This also sends a strong message to criminal gangs that there is no hidden corner that can tolerate illegal activities. Heaven's net is vast. Though sparse, nothing slips through. Every act of sowing pain for fellow human beings will be illuminated by the light of justice. Currently, although the raid operation is concluded with resounding results, the investigation process of the case is still being expanded by authorities. Judicial agencies are actively solidifying the files, and formal indictments are expected to be submitted soon to a federal grand jury. The law always upholds strictness, but is also very fair and cautious in every trial process. Even though a massive volume of evidence has been collected, the authorities always strictly adhere to constitutional principles protecting the legal rights of every individual. Competent authorities also note clearly and transparently that the charges stated in any current indictment are merely preliminary accusations. The U.S. justice system operates on the principle of the presumption of innocence, meaning a person is considered innocent until their guilt is proven beyond a doubt. All evidence supporting these serious charges will have to be presented openly and transparently before a jury at the upcoming federal trial. It is the jury, consisting of ordinary citizens representing the voice and conscience of the community, that will have the sacred duty of deciding whether the defendant is guilty or innocent. This process not only demonstrates the democratic fairness of the legal system, but also reminds us of the importance of respecting objective truth. In the fight against evil, we are not allowed to let emotions overpower reason, but must always firmly believe in the impartial judgment of the justice system. What do you think about the role of ordinary citizens in participating in the process of maintaining justice in a civilized society? The silent sacrifice of the authorities, those who are always on standby at the front lines of crime prevention, deserves to receive the deepest gratitude from all of society. Thanks to them, millions of doses of poison were intercepted before they could sow pain for innocent families. However, this war is not yet completely over, as the seeds of greed and selfishness still exist, deeply rooted and enduring. Each of us needs to equip ourselves with the necessary knowledge to protect ourselves and our families against the sophisticated traps of modern types of crime. The fact that the defendant committed the crime while under federal probation is a detail worth our concern and deep thought. It reflects the complexity of the community reintegration process and the enormous challenges that the penal system must face every day. It is not always the case that undergoing legal punishments allows an individual to automatically shake off a shameful, erroneous past. This requires synchronized support not only from strict monitoring measures, but also from the community's tolerant, welcoming open arms to help them find the right path again. When an individual returns to the path of crime, especially crimes related to sowing the White Death, the damage to social trust is immense and difficult to heal. The lenient measures of the law were inherently born to give people a chance to rebuild their lives, but when they are exploited, it becomes a deep cut into the altruism of the community. This story reminds legislative and executive branches to continuously perfect the monitoring system to ensure maximum safety for law-abiding citizens. The 16 firearms confiscated at the scene clearly paint a picture of the intimate connection between drugs and armed violence in society. The underworld always uses force as a tool to demonstrate power-settled disputes and protect their ruthless, illicit interests. When hot weapons fall into the hands of those who no longer have humanity, the safety of the entire surrounding residential area is severely threatened. The success of the authorities does not just stop at clearing out drugs, but also entails stripping away the seeds that cause bloody violence. The law enforcement team had to go through grueling days and months of investigation, full of hardships and challenges, to secure a complete and safe sweep. The secret surveillances in the middle of the night, the sophisticated professional tactics, and the silent sacrifices of the special agents are rarely fully and clearly known to the public. They have wagered both their lives and their families' happiness to step into an uncompromising war with aggressive criminals. The deepest gratitude we can offer them is to consciously live in accordance with the law and protect our families. The spirit of coordinated combat between federal and local agencies is an eloquent testament to the power of solidarity in the great task of protecting national security. Administrative or jurisdictional boundaries cannot hinder the shared determination to dismantle large-scale criminal organizations. When all resources are gathered, when intelligence streams are shared in a timely manner, an invisible yet enormously vast legal net is cast. No dark force can escape the encirclement of intelligence and the courageous spirit of selfless dedication to the people. Looking back at the flow of events, the lesson on building a moral foundation and life skills for the younger generation becomes more urgent than ever for us. The family must be the most solid fortress where children are educated about core life values and the clear distinction between good and evil. We cannot merely depend on authorities to solve the tip of the problem, but must proactively prevent it from the very roots. A soul nurtured by love and knowledge will have enough resistance against all deadly temptations. In the digital age, the spread of toxic information and illicit transaction methods are becoming increasingly complex and unpredictable. Drug crimes continually mutate and exploit virtual cyberspace networks to approach naive, inexperienced victims. This requires parents and schools to constantly update their knowledge and accompany their children in both the real world and the trap-filled online world. Creating an open, transparent communication environment will help them confidently share their difficulties and stay away from sophisticated scammers. The United States Drug Enforcement Administration understands clearly that behind every case are hundreds of agonizing stories of vulnerable victims and their families. It is that profound empathy that has urged investigators to constantly strive to overcome all dangerous barriers to bring crimes out into the light of justice. Their work is not simply a profession to make a living, but a sacred mission of vital importance to the security and order of the entire nation. Each of their victories is a joyful musical note dotted into the symphony of the community's peace. Every effort to stop the expansion of drugs carries a profound humanitarian meaning, aiming toward the goal of liberating human beings from the invisible chains of dark addiction. Drugs not only destroy the human physical body, but also corrode the will, degrade moral values, and strip away the most basic freedoms of a true citizen. The uncompromising struggle against drug crimes is exactly the war to protect dignity and the right to live in a healthy environment for every individual across the vast world. The perseverance and patience of law enforcement agencies in the process of dismantling this sophisticated criminal ring is an invaluable lesson on the spirit of fully dedicating oneself to the greater good. They do not mind the hardships and difficulties, not stepping back before risk that directly threaten their lives to excellently accomplish the historic mission entrusted to them. Absolute loyalty to the ideal of protecting justice and social order has turned them into silent heroes amid peacetime full of turbulence. All genuine devotion for the country and the people deserves to be engraved in history and forever honored hereafter. Finally, through highly topical and educational events like this, we absorb even more deeply the meaning of peace in every moment of daily life. Waking up every morning, being able to breathe fresh air, and seeing loved ones healthy and safe is a priceless happiness that not everyone is lucky enough to have in this world. Know how to cherish and protect those core values through the practical actions of each one of us right today. The light of goodness and compassion will always be a blazing torch lighting the way and guiding humanity through every dark night. To close this story heavily imbued with a timely nature and profound educational character, I would like to send my most sincere thanks to all of you ladies and gentlemen for taking the time to watch and listen. I hope that the information and messages we have just shared together will add strength to the positive actions in our community. Wishing you always abundant health, happiness, and a life filled with simple joys beside your most loved ones.